Welcome to another Osmo Guide video, and in this video we'll be talking about DJi's latest product, the Osmo Mobile. The Osmo Mobile is a 3-axis stabilized gimbal for your phone. Let's take a quick look at what you get in the box of the Osmo Mobile. You get a manual, a quick start guide, you get a lanyard, you get a USB cable for charging and firmware updates, you get one battery, you get a pouch, and you get the Osmo Mobile. So let's take a closer look at the Osmo Mobile itself. So the first thing you need to do when you receive your Osmo is to charge the battery. It comes with a little film on the end of it when you first get it. You need to take that off, and then you need to fit the battery into the bottom of the Osmo, like so. Ooh. Like so. I'm going to place it in the Osmo base that you can buy from DJi for now. Charging the battery is done by the supplied USB cable, and to do this you need to plug one end of the charging cable, the phono jack end, into the port in the front. Looks like a microphone port, but it's purely for charging and for doing firmware updates. Don't plug your headphones into there. On the other end, you need to plug it into a mobile phone charger or an iPad charger, similar to this. For some reason, DJi just don't provide any means of charging this device out the box, so you need to have a mobile phone charger, which you should have if you're going to fit a phone into the Osmo. So plug it in and plug it into a wall socket, and it takes about 2 to 3 hours to charge from scratch. Once your DJi Osmo battery is charged, you need to fit your mobile phone into the gimbal. And to do this, it's quite easy. On the back of the gimbal you have a little wheel, and this wheel, when you turn it anti-clockwise, it opens the clamp for your phone. And once it's opened sufficiently, you slide your phone in and you turn the wheel clockwise to tighten it. There's a little picture showing you on the back how to do it, and then the phone is in place. The next thing you need to do before you turn the Osmo on is to balance the phone on the gimbal. And to do this, you use another little wheel at the back. You turn that one anti-clockwise to open it, and you pull this arm out a little bit, just a little bit at a time. You close it again, see if your phone's balanced. Almost. Just a little bit more, and you notice that the phone is balanced on the Osmo. And now you are ready to turn on the Osmo for the first time. Turn the Osmo on by sliding the power switch down, and it'll turn on and auto stabilize the camera. DJi Go app will automatically connect. Click on camera, and the Osmo is then connected and ready to use. It comes with an intuitive joystick. You can pan and tilt the camera. In the DJi Go app, you can also set the gimbal to free mode, and this allows you to pan and tilt at the same time by moving the joystick diagonally. In the same settings, you can also reverse the pan function of the joystick. The trigger on the Osmo has multiple functions. Hold the trigger in and it locks the camera into its current position. Release and it goes back to smooth track function. Double tap recenters the camera. Triple tap returns it to your front facing camera so you can do selfie mode. Triple tap again and returns to normal mode. You have 4 different ways of holding the Osmo. You've got the standard mode, you've got a portrait mode, You've got an underslung mode, and you've also got a flashlight mode. You have two buttons on the front. The first button you press for the still images. Press the button, takes a picture. You also have a recording button. Press that recording button, and the Osmo starts recording video on your mobile phone. Press it again, it stops. The DJi Go app itself is a very simple interface. It's easy to use. You have a little icon here that flips between your still photos and video. You have a modes button, so if you're in video you have auto, time lapse and motion time lapse. I will cover them later. And in photo mode you have single photo, long exposure option, a timed option, a 2-second time option, a 5-second time option, a 10-second interval option. You have your shutter button. Press the button, takes a picture or starts recording video. I would use the controls on the handle itself instead of using the button. You have an option to turn it to selfie mode, and back again. You have a button that shows you your recorded clips. This button changes to active track on or active track off. On the top you have a Bluetooth connection, shows you you're connected by Bluetooth. On this side you have your battery remaining, and you have your flash options. You can have it set the flash on your phone, so it'll trigger a flash when you take a photo. You have a home button, which takes you to the home of DJi Go app, to the main front screen. You have a camera option. You have video resolution. It'll try and pick the best video possible for the phone that you're using. So in this case you've got 1080, 720 and 480p. It's selected 1080. You have a white balance option. You have auto, like inside light, fluorescent, sunny, cloudy day, shade or twilight. You have the control for the flash, so flash is off, flash is on, flash is auto, flash is always on. And that flash option is shown by the flash icon there. You also have a grid option, so you can have a grid on screen. You'll have a grid on diagonals, grid lines and a center point. You then have your gimbal mode, so you've got different scenes. You've got two scenes, you've got walk and you've got sports. Walk makes slow movement on the gimbal, so if you're not doing any action stuff you set it to slow or to walk, and if you're doing some action sports you set it to sport, and it changes the speed that the gimbal responds at. Walk is a very nice one for most smooth video. And you've got a pitch lock, so locks the pitch to the phone with the gimbal, on and off. You have a settings option, and in the settings you got camera settings, you got tracking level, high, middle and low, and you got a reset camera option. You got gimbal options, and in there you can calibrate the gimbal. I will cover this later. You got your option for your joystick, so joystick control, you got horizontal, vertical, where the joystick goes either up, down, left or right. You got free mode, where the gimbal can go in any direction at the same time. So you got horizontal, you got pan and tilt at the same time. Pan reverse, reverses the pan joystick, so when you press left it rotates to the right and vice versa. You got tilt reverse, reverses the tilt. You got gimbal reset, so it'll put it back to factory settings. You got a general option which shows you your device name, which will be a crazy Bluetooth name. You can change it here. You've got reset fresh guide, so it actually shows you, I believe it shows you how to use it, gives you the tips on the screen. And you've got the firmware version and the battery information as well. And some of these options I will cover a bit more later on, but the DJi Go app is very easy to use. One of the really cool functions of the Osmo Mobile is the active track function. The active track function came from DJi's Phantom 4 quadcopter, where you could set an object for it to track and it would fly away and follow that object all by itself. And now this function has made its way to the Osmo Mobile. To enable it, it's quite easy. In the bottom corner here you have a little yellow crosshair, and the yellow crosshair allows you to click a point on the screen where it'll set the exposure value for that point of the screen, and you can also manually adjust the exposure at the same time. Click that icon and it turns green, and this allows you to draw a tracking point on an object, and as soon as you do, the Osmo starts to track that object wherever it goes. And it's quite responsive. It will lose the object if you move incredibly quick, but there you go. Oh, found it again. Quite good. And this function is very good for bloggers and people that want to record their own faces. It works in the rear camera and the front facing camera, so you can do a selfie mode. Oh, and it's lost it. Will it find it? Oh, there you go. Oh, it's lost its tracking. Oh, there you go. But that function is one of the best functions on the Osmo Mobile, I think. It's a very great addition. It only works on some Android phones and some iPhones. On the iPhones, it's from the iPhone 6 upwards, and it's on various Androids depending on power. This is an LG G5. And it works on this one, but it will not work on slower mobile phones. So just check your mobile phone before you go out and buy one if this is the function that you really need. Another cool function of the Osmo Mobile is the motion time lapse. You've probably seen the Osmo originally did the time lapse, but this one does a motion time lapse. And to enable it, it's quite easy. Under video, you select the modes and you choose M time lapse, and on this screen you need to set your starting position. So I will set it to start there, and you click the add button, and then you set the end point. So I will go across and pan it up a little bit and set that at the end point. You can set more than 1 point, or you can set more than 2 points. There you go, next. And this is the interval, so it starts at every half a second, and duration, which is a minute by default. So I will set it as that, and it tells me the generated video will be 4 seconds long at the end of this. So if I click start, it will go to the beginning and start doing the motion time lapse. When it reaches the end, it will automatically finish and stop recording video, and then you can view the video back. You may find from time to time you need to recalibrate the gimbal on the Osmo Mobile, and to do this it's quite easy from the app. From the main screen, press the cog for the settings option, choose gimbal, and choose auto calibration. Click start. It tells you to make sure it's placed upright on a stable position, on a stable surface, and it says you can hold it by hand and make sure that the gimbal can rotate freely. Click OK, and the calibration will begin. Now once it's finished, it'll say calibration succeeded. Press OK, and there's the gimbal calibrated. From time to time you might notice that the horizon of the Osmo Mobile goes off, it means that the phone will tilt either left or right, and although you're holding it level, the video will appear to lean to one side. It's a problem that's been on their drones as well, but they have built in a feature to adjust that to compensate for any horizon issues, and that option is in the settings. Press the cog and the gimbal, and you've got the calibrate horizon option. You click on calibrate horizon, and when you do that you get another option called gimbal roll adjustment. This is exactly the same as their drones, and what you can do is add adjustments, which means it'll rotate. Actually, it'll take the right hand side down, left side upwards, and you can reduce it by going into minus figures, and it does the same thing but goes the other way. So if you did have a horizon issue, you could adjust it out using this. It's worth noting that it remembers this setting, so if you set this and start the gimbal up again, it'll remember the setting, so you just need to pay attention to that. So there's how to adjust the horizon on the gimbal. So what's my verdict on the Osmo Mobile? Well, from using it for a while now, it's a really nice device. You get nice smooth video from your phone, and well, it does exactly what it says on the tin really. Battery wise, I got about 3.5 hours from the battery that comes with it. Using the high capacity batteries, you're probably going to get more. If you're going to buy one of these, maybe get 1 or 2 extra batteries for it, just in case, but it outlasts your smartphone by miles anyway, so you're going to be charging your phone more than you're going to be charging the Osmo. Feature wise, Active Track, I love Active Track. It's a good feature for when the Osmo's on a tripod, or if you're using it to follow your own face. If you're on a bike or on a scooter or anything like that. It's not so good for following someone handheld, especially if they're moving quite quickly. It's possible, it will do it, but I didn't have too much success doing it with following my little boy about the place. I think it's because he moved a bit too quick. Time lapse and motion time lapse. Motion time lapse is another great feature. It's not perfect. I noticed that when I set it to pan and then tilt upwards a little bit or downwards, it wouldn't make any difference. That transition from panning sideways to moving upwards wasn't smooth. Maybe they need to change it so it curves its movement, so it gradually moves. I don't know, which is DJi engineers will probably figure that out. It's something they can fix. Whether they will do or not, it's another question. Well, I say fix. It's not a problem. It's just I would prefer it to be smoother, and I would have thought anybody doing multi-point time lapses. So if you're panning from left to right or right to left, then it's perfect. It works well. But it allows you to have multiple points, so you can pan and then have another point and move upwards and pan again and so forth. And that movement from panning to tilting just doesn't seem that smooth for me. Hopefully they'll fix it. Gimbal itself, well, it's DJi. Their gimbals actually are very good now. You can't fault the gimbal. Actually, it does what it's supposed to do. Keeps the phone steady. You need to make sure you balance it well. So if you're going to swap between phones a lot, it's going to be a little bit annoying having to rebalance it for every phone. But once you've done, say, this is an LG G5, maybe an iPhone 6, maybe iPhone 7, maybe a Sony or something like that. Once you've done them a few times, you'll have an idea how much you need to move the gimbal to balance it out a little bit. So it'll be annoying initially. It is pretty much a gimbal, so it's unfair to comment on video quality because it's a mobile phone doing the quality of the video, not the Osmo itself. You will need to learn the DJi Ninja Walk because you can't have the Z-axis. Up and down movement is going to show in the video if you're not doing the Ninja Walk or you're incredibly balanced. So practice makes perfect with that one. It was the same with the original Osmo before the Z-axis, and even with the Z-axis you still need to have a little bit of a ninja walk, just not quite as much. Strong wind and the Osmo don't really go that well together. The wind, if catching, obviously phones are quite big these days, obviously when they're catching the gimbal it can push the gimbal and move the phone. So I was filming a time lapse you saw, the motion time lapse you saw near the castle. That was done on a really windy day, and it did generate a bit of shake on the Osmo, but it was worth testing. So just bear in mind, wind hitting the phone is probably going to ruin your shots. The main issue, and again this is not an Osmo Mobile problem as such, is phones with optical image stabilization does tend to cause crappy video if you're running or moving incredibly quick with vibration on these. It's not DJi's fault. I don't know if it's something that they can fix with software to maybe turn it off on phones, but I've had to play with it using DJi Go's app and also using another app that claims to turn OIS off, and the video was terrible. Mounting it on the bike is probably a no-no. Actually, there's a clip somewhere. I'm going to put a clip on the screen of when I attached it to my bike. No, not good. So bear in mind, running with one of these, or running incredibly quick, so you've got lots of movements happening like that. It's not going to be too bad, but it's phone dependent and you might not be happy with the video quality, so just bear that in mind. Audio. The audio, obviously it comes from your smartphone, so again it's not any fault of the Osmo, but phones with the mic on the bottom, which is probably most phones because that's where your mouth is, are gonna pick up a little bit of noise from the motors. Not as bad as the original Osmo with its built-in microphone. That was terrible, but it does pick it up. In loud areas, I don't think you notice it, but if you're in a really quiet place, I would probably not use the audio coming from this. You can't really attach, you might be able to attach a microphone. It's on, I can attach one to the top here on this one if it's on the other side, but too much weight is probably going to set the gimbal off on my other one. So I think phones have got really good microphones these days. They've got cancellation in them, so I think it'd be fine. But it does, in perfectly quiet situation, it does pick up a little bit of noise from the motor. Usability, the Osmo is quite easy to use. It's nice to hold. You can actually hold it with both arms because you no longer need to have a phone accessory on the side here, so it's much easier to hold with both hands. Buttons easy to reach, the trigger easy to press, joystick and record. There's not many buttons on it, so it's nice to hold. The app itself, actually I've covered the app already, but it's really easy to use. All the options are there. It would be nice if DJi gave you a few more gimbal options. I would really appreciate that. I think the speed of the joystick, it's initially very slow at reacting. It seems to ramp up its speed. I would prefer to have a bit more control over the speed of that if DJi feels like adding it. Different phones seem to have different reaction time to taking a photo. So I think it's the sound that's delayed more than anything on this. The iPhone seems a bit better. I don't think it's a problem, but I think it's just different phones. Again, like I say, it's not the Osmo that does any videos or photos, it's the phone, so anything wrong with them, blame the phone. Verdict, is it worth the money? I think so. Actually, I like the idea of having an Osmo handle but my own phones, so when a new phone comes out I can use that. If a friend's got a phone that's got better video than mine, I could use somebody else's phone. You're not limited in the camera in this one, you can change it quite easily, which I like. Got an iPhone 7 on order, so I'll see what that's like when it finally turns up. I'm not complaining, but it hasn't turned up yet. Is it for everybody? Well, if you can think of a use for a stabilised mobile phone video, then I think it's probably the best on the market at the moment. It's priced fairly, I think, which I think the price of it's fair compared to the other ones on the market, and being a DJI gimbal, you know it's going to be good. They don't make crap gimbals. If you already have an Osmo, one of the originals, I have one of the originals, I wouldn't sell a kidney to get the money to buy one of these. Active track is nice, but it's not that nice, and I think you will use the features that current Osmo has, the ability just to record steady video, more than you will use any active track feature or the motion time lapse. So there you have it, the DJi Osmo Mobile. I'll be doing lots more video over the coming weeks using an iPhone 7 Plus, so it'd be good to see how it works with that one. So thank you for watching the video. If you're still watching it, it's quite a long video. I thought I'd try and add enough information in there so you're informed when you want to go and buy one. If you do buy one, enjoy the Osmo Mobile. If you don't buy one, then well, you're not going to enjoy one. Hope you enjoyed the video. Check back soon for another one.